Hi, welcome to today's healing. I'm Kristen, and if you're joining me today, that means that you are ready to make a change in yourself and the world around you. We're going to be talking about Carl Jung's archetypes. There are 4 major archetypes and 12 minor archetypes. And you're asking, maybe some of you already know. I'm sure that a lot of you already have heard of archetypes. But for those who aren't aware of what they are, archetypes aren't learned but are innate potential and hereditary predispositions that organize the human experience. Used in various fields, including literature, film, and branding, to create recognizable characters and themes that resonate with audiences. The subconscious can be brought into active awareness where the collective unconscious is not directly available. Now I'm going to do just a very brief overview of the conscious levels. The conscious, our everyday awareness, aware of one's own existence, feelings, thoughts, and surroundings. Personal consciousness, or what some call subconscious. I say subconscious, but it's pretty much the same thing. But Carl Jung really referred to it as personal consciousness, but he does say subconscious quite a bit. The part of the mind of which one is not fully aware, but which influences one's actions and feelings. Experiences and memories that have been repressed and forgotten or not currently in conscious awareness. This is our old buried traumas, things that aren't active in our conscious mind, but they do drive us, like PTSD, or if you were abused and you see someone that looks like the abuser back in the day, then you might trigger to that. And this is kind of where the ego wants to take hold too, in the subconscious, and drives us. And so this is where we need to go into the subconscious and work with our shadow and the ego. Collective unconscious. Deepest, most extensive level of unconscious mind, a universal inherited layer of the human unconscious mind shared by all people across cultures and history. Present from birth, this is where the archetype resides. Okay. Archetypes provide a framework for understanding universal patterns in the human psyche. These archetypes manifest as symbols, behaviors in dreams, myths, and stories. These collective unconscious patterns influence human experience and guide individuation, which is our process of becoming whole, where we put ego in the back seat, we face our shadow, we are basically integrated, and our wholeness is our individuation. Or psychological growth by helping people integrate their personal and collective experience to achieve self-understanding and inner harmony. 3 points of understanding archetypes. Universal patterns. They are innate, universal patterns of thought and behavior that are common to all humanity. Collective unconscious. They reside in the collective unconscious, shared mental reservoir of experiences and instincts passed down through generations. So this isn't just something you pick up in life. You're born with these archetypes, and they are shared by everyone, and they are hereditary. Manifestation. Archetypes emerge in symbols, myths, and art and dreams, providing structure for these themes and motifs. Why archetypes matter. Self-understanding. This is big. By recognizing archetypes, the individuals can gain deeper insight to their own motivations, fears, and desires. So if you can kind of understand archetypes and what is driving you, then you have a reference point to work with when you are discussing this with the ego and saying, you know what, no more. This is where you're more aware of what you are dealing with when you're dealing with your shadow and facing the darkness. Individuation, psychological growth, a movement toward becoming whole. Jung believed that integrating archetypal patterns into one's consciousness leads to a sense of wholeness, individuation, a crucial aspect of psychological development. Cultural and personal insights. Archetypes offer a way to understand the fundamental elements of the human experience and the narratives that shape human societies across time and culture. Balancing the psyche. Understanding these unconscious forces can help resolve internal conflicts and prevent neurosis by bringing unconscious content into conscious awareness. And I think everyone at some point has a tendency for neurosis. And I certainly did. And this is when I really met the shadow and started taking care of it. Because what happens is it's going to have an underlying current under your consciousness. And it is going to drive negativity in your life. Again, PTSD issues, triggering responses that people are like, and you're like, where did that come from? And so to find these archetypes within yourself, and they can overlap. It's not going to be just one. And there might be one that takes the front seat, and then you'll have other ones to deal with too. But you're going to have more than one archetype to wade through. But if you can actively recognize what these are in yourself, then you can actively pursue these archetypes and what they are doing to you and deal with them. Okay, now we're going to talk about the 4 major archetypes. The first one is persona, the social mask or role a person presents to the external world, a necessary part of navigating social interactions. The shadow, the darker, repressed, and often unacceptable aspects of ourselves. And this is what we need to face in order to become whole and integrate. Anima and animus. Anima refers to male, man, and animus is referring to woman. The unconscious feminine qualities within a man and unconscious masculine qualities within a woman. And we need male and female energy to balance us out. Otherwise, we could, if we're too feminine and don't have masculine, we could draw in a very dominant male who is abusive. And if we have too much masculine, then we're going to maybe draw in a man that is wimpy. And so if you want to draw in a man that is well-rounded and integrated, if you will, then we all need a nice balance of male and female. Self, the central archetype of order and wholeness, representing the integration of conscious and unconscious aspects of the personality. 12 minor archetypes. Each has a core desire, a main goal, a fatal flaw, and a strategy to achieve its goals. And maybe you've already experienced this without realizing that you were dealing with archetypes. They are our driving force. The innocent seeks to be happy and safe, driven by a desire for goodness and purity. The everyman values connection and belonging, seeking to relate to others through shared human experience. The hero seeks to prove their worth through courageous and competent action, aiming for mastery and change. The caregiver, motivated by a desire to protect and care for others. This is pretty much self-explanatory, isn't it? Focused on service and compassion. The rebel or outlaw, driven by a desire for radical change and revolution, challenging the status quo. I'm sure we all know a rebel. The magician focuses on transformation and making dreams come true, seeking to understand the underlying rules of the universe. I kind of feel that right now I am in that magician archetype. I really want to understand the universe. I want to understand all the spiritual nature out there and all that I am. The explorer values freedom and exploration, yearning to discover new things and experience the world. The lover, driven by a desire for intimacy, beauty, and connection, seeking to be in a relationship with people and surroundings they love. The creator emphasizes imagination, innovation, and the desire to create something enduring and meaningful. The jester seeks enjoyment and to live in the moment, embracing humor and playfulness. The sage, driven by the pursuit of truth and knowledge, valuing understanding and wisdom. I'm also, I think, acting in the sage archetype because it's all about truth and understanding, knowledge and wisdom for me. I've had it, I didn't even get a tattoo until I was, I think, in my early 50s, probably 10 years ago. And I have a symbol right back here. It's an ancient druid symbol meaning truth. And that is what I'm all about. And so you'll probably find, if you haven't already, what it is that drives you, what you are innately. And then the last one is the ruler. Craves control and stability, seeking to lead and maintain order and safety. I think we all have met a ruler. So those are the archetypes, a little bit about the conscious levels. And if you want to do more study on that, there are books, or, Carl Jung has a lot of books out there. And I really admire him because he just really moved forward in this whole spiritual nature and brought us all kinds of information of understanding. And he was a psychiatrist as well. So he understood the human mind, the psyche, and he merged that with spiritualness and the universe. So go out and look up Carl Jung and read some of his work. Listen to some of his people put podcasts out there, and sometimes there's podcasts of Carl Jung actually speaking. So I appreciate you, as I always do. And remember, go out and change the world. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.